All right, blue-white control. This time, blue-white control with win conditions is one of our favorite things to be doing. So this was a Sphinx's Tutelage build around. So Sphinx's Tutelage here says whenever you draw a card, target opponent puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. If those 2 cards are non-land and share a color, repeat this process. So we've got this along with variety of things that draw various amounts of cards, as well as some interaction to allow us to hopefully not die to other aggressive decks in the format. I actually think that this card, Startled Awake here, I have to zoom this in so it doesn't do my preview well, is probably pretty good against the no-win con blue-white deck that's been floating around. So this mills the opponent for 13, and then you can pay 5 to flip it from your graveyard back into play. And then it gets to come back to your hand and mill them again. So, like, even if this card gets countered, if you just have a lot of mana as the game's going along, you get to, like, bring this back again and again and again. So, let's go ahead and dive on into some matches here and see how this goes. We played Approach the Second Sun, and last time we played Approach the Second Sun was the event. The last time we played Approach the Second Sun, it didn't feel very good compared to just no win-con blue-white, so let's see how this one feels. Zerblin, thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Johnny Combo Player, thank you for the 11 months. Yeah, looking forward to some more Historic 2. It's nice to have a non-rotating format on Arena as well. I just realized I need to send a message here real quick. Takes a little bit to find a match on Sunday morning. We call this deck Please Draw Supreme Verdict. I mean, that's the general game plan. A lot of these blue-white decks, right? You're like, please draw my sweeper on time. Is Dusk Dawn too narrow for the format currently? It's hard to know. Like, this format's not well defined. There's like a few decks that are like okay at the top, but by and large, what decks are at the top have been changing week to week as ban updates have been happening. So like even the 2 decks at the top of the format right now could very well be changing on January 6th when we get the last regular rapid fire ban list update for this format. Inspiring Vantage go, eh? Yep. So, I was hoping they weren't playing an aggressive deck when they skipped their turn 1 play, but the good news is Tutelage might get a number of double triggers in this match. The bad news is they're probably going to kill us very quickly. Well, Dust Dawn is a card that generates card advantage on its backside 2-mos. So, like, there are decks that can leverage both halves of it if the front half is good. Light them up. They're on fire. Oh, ho, 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 ho. We really need a Supreme Verdict next turn, huh? Yeah, we played No Catcher's Monument deck yesterday that had Dust Dawn in it, and Dust Dawn wasn't terrible, but the Monument deck as a whole was pretty bad. Interesting. They're not playing out Eidolon here. Okay. Yeah, three mana cards that don't impact the board are a hard sell, he says, as he has a Sphinx's Tutelage trigger on the stack. Opponent. What's the deal, yo? Well, my opponent's taking an hour here. I'm actually going to be right back. Just a moment. Hey, look, we milled 4 cards. We're so good at this. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Probably not enough. I guess we just double charm them, huh? I guess that doesn't quite work because they're gonna play another Eidolon here. If they play this other Eidolon pre-combat, which they're likely to. Really? Okay, weird. And then, so long as they don't have a light up the stage here, the Sphinx's Tutelage will just send both of those right to the bin next turn, which is nice. They could have another light up the stage. Another light up the stage is potentially a reason to wait to play out Eidolon. Hey, look, it's another card that means we're dead. Alright. I guess we just opt and hope to hit Verdict, huh? Well, you know. What are the odds we cast into the story and they deck out? Low? Seems low. We only have to mill 39 cards, chat. Rats. I assume we're dead here. They have to have any burn spell. Get to see a bunch of cards out of their deck on our way out the door. Post board, we get to bring in some Deccan Stone, some Thing in the Ice, maybe Veto, maybe Settle the Wreckage. Probably Settle the Wreckage. They've got a good number of creatures. Let's cut Startled Awake here. Let's cut Censor. It's probably right to trim some Chart of Course too. Seems pretty reasonable. Time Raveler's not particularly impressive. Let's bring in all 3 Vetoes. I wonder if it's right to board in a cage, because cage stops, Frenzy, which they're like almost certainly boarding in against me, right? I'm going to cut these Teferis. They don't seem particularly good. I'm going to bring the cages in as an answer to Frenzy. I see I need some lands, but the spells are pretty good. Settle does help get the pesky lands out of their deck. Strategy runs deep, lets us get those double triggers more often. Soulscar Mage is real good against Thing in the Ice. Go ahead and just play this out as a blocker. If their turn is spent like Wizard's Lightning this, or Lightning Striking it, that's kind of a win for us, I think. Especially with the Verdict in our hand, it's not too big of a deal if the Thing in the Ice just dies. And just soak up as much early damage as possible. Hopefully we draw an untapped land that doesn't hurt us when we get to Tutelage next turn. Get going from there. Block. Yep. This makes this a negative 3/1. It dies. Feels control, man. Alright. Hit that at least. Play our cage out here. Always remember, if you don't remember the text on a card, you can also type exclamation point and then the card name in chat if you're coming in late. Frequently don't mouse over cards that we've already talked about. There's also the deck list widget. If you're on mobile, you can hit the Stream Decker icon and pull it up and you'll be able to mouse over all of the, or touch and highlight all the cards in our deck. The Thing in the Ice, keep -1/- counters when I transform. It does. It's the same instance of the card. So unless a flip card exiles and then re-enters play like the flip planeswalkers do, it keeps everything that's on it. The stage is lit. Alright. Do we have a fourth land, a fourth land, a fourth land? Can we have a fourth land to kill these 1/2s? Sick. My deck didn't even give me a port town there. That fourth land could have easily been a port town or an irrigated farmland, just so my deck could make fun of me for asking for a generic fourth land. Alright, so we're at 14. They have 4 cards left. They don't have another wizard to play. This Wizard's Lightning's pretty expensive. Which can slow them down a bit. Yeah, the flip planeswalkers were just excellent designs all around. I think I just do this. Try and get this going. I think I could cruise this turn. I don't know. It's just tough, right? Like, because like this tutelage is like kind of our win condition, but at the same time, like it's taking a turn off to not impact the board. That's why a lot of cards like this can often be a tough sell. Like, this format is more forgiving than Modern to set a low bar, but like, more forgiving than Modern is such a low bar. Well, to be fair, the colonnade style decks are very good in this format. They just don't play win conditions because there's no colonnade. Risk factor. Alright, yeah, we're very dead. Got it. Got it good. I think the red matchup's even a hard matchup for the good blue-white deck. They just like get on the board very quickly and your sweepers have minimal impact. I'd assume our blue-white deck that has a lot of tire spinning involved and 3-mana cards that don't impact the board, probably pretty unwinnable for us. We're hoping to hit more mid-rangey decks, control decks, etc. Something like green-black Delirium, probably an okay matchup for us. Although we do give them Delirium pretty quickly. Like most blue-white decks, have the vulnerability of tapped land go. I don't really think that's a vulnerability. Like, I think you're used to formats as brutal as Modern where that's a vulnerability, but like in a normal format, playing a tapped land on turn 1 shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, you shouldn't. I hope Pioneer doesn't end up at the fact where, like, if you're not doing something on the first turn of the game, your deck's unplayable. I think that would mean the format's a very bad. Bin this other chart, of course, here, I think. I'm supposed to bin the end of the story since I don't have any way insight to Radiant Fountain. Blue-green ramp, maybe? Could be blue-green ramp. I mean, to be fair, the MTGO foil cards, like, they look like paper foil cards, right? That was their goal. As is the answer with most things Magic Online related, for better and worse, like, it's paper Magic. Do this now in case we find a Tutelage. Or a Teferi, perfect. Play him, cantrip him. Kinda wish I would have kept a chart, of course, with these double verdicts in hand. Morning, imminent. Our opponent just like playing the ramp deck and kept a hand with 0 ramp in it. I feel like that's what's currently happening. So far, their lands all say I'm a ramp deck. Good thing we're not going to be fighting them on this axis. This is going to make some zomboids and girls. Alright, so let's Tutelage. Plus this up, mill them. Their start could be slow enough here that we could actually win this game. They have Omniscience in their deck. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. It's a blue payoff, I suppose. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they can Ulamog us this turn. Just casual turn 6 Ulamog. No big deal. Man, having 2 Ancient Tombs is real good. It's, it's so disgusting. Like, they cast one ramp spell and, like, cast a 10 mana spell on turn 6. It's kind of unreal. Dude, do not understand why this is okay. I think this deck is harder to interact with than Tron. This deck's obviously in a direct comparison to Tron. The opponent's archetype is slower, but this format is also slower as a whole. So, like, you know, this is indestructible and it is a cast trigger, so, like, counterspells aren't good enough either. Are we the baddies? No, we're the good guy here. I guess Sphinx's tutelage in it. You don't. It doesn't. There aren't. The opponent's deck only has a bad matchup against itself. When the opponent's archetype is firing on all cylinders, nothing is good against it. You have to just be able to race it. The red deck is good against. I don't think the red deck. I think the red deck has to be on the play. I think the red deck has to be on the play, and it has to have a good draw, and they have to have a bad draw. Like, turn 1, a Boreal Grazer. Turn 2, 3 mana ramp spell. They're gonna die every time. A Boreal Grazer, an Elvish Rejuvenator, and Radiant Fountain make the opponent's deck good against decks that are normally its natural predator. Alright, so I have to put this on top of their deck and then hope to find a card that mills them. You don't have a data source on that. Do you have all the matches that are played out in those events, Navier? Please link the matchup analysis from those events. Because to my knowledge, that doesn't exist for Magic Online. So if you have some hidden wealth of information that shows you what matches are played in those preliminaries, please share. But again, don't pretend like you have Magic data that doesn't exist, because, well, you don't. Thanks for the 8 months, Exhaust. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Well, we hit the mill card. Yeah, we got that going for us. This makes our end of the story cheaper here. Yeah, no second payoff here is good for us. They do have Worldbreaker in their bin, so that's a concern. Thanks for the 19 months, J Sims. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Ordering what stuff? I would not recommend ordering the opponent's archetype until after the 6th. No. Especially mods aren't safe when they make bad claims that should be backed up with data without having data. Because they should know better. I'm confused. The ramp decks are different from devotion decks. Yes, the ramp decks are different than the devotion decks. Devotion decks work around Nykthos and playing to the board. These ramp decks are based around cards like Hour of Promise, a Boreal Grazer, Nissa's Pilgrimage, Elvish Rejuvenator, those types of effects. We might actually mill them out here. They only have 29 cards in their deck. I'm going to draw a lot of cards this turn. Careful we don't deck ourselves. I guess we could deck ourselves, huh? There's only 9 cards left in our deck because the Ulamog attacked. They conceded. Wild. I'm here for the do nothing decks. Don't at me. Thanks for the 3/4 of a YouTuber. Alright, Deck and Stone. Veto. I neglected to put... And again, like, this is just part of... This is part of this format and part of trying to pick and choose what you're beating and what you're losing to, etc. But, like, I don't have rejections or disdainful strokes to sideboard because I've chosen to, like, play Graveyard Hate. And that's the kind of something that you're going to be doing. I got into Historic, and I like Kisis. You find it weak in this. What does that mean? Instead of using corporate buzzwords, can you tell me why you think Kisis is weak? We've played Kisis a couple of times in Historic, and every time I've played it, I've felt incredibly strong. Its linear draws are very reasonable. It grinds out control decks well with a fair backup plan, and playing a bunch of Oathakayas in your main deck gives you a lot of play against the aggressive decks in the format, in addition to having a 3-mana 3/4. Yeah, Scrafted. We're doing an end-of-year streamathon. I was on all day yesterday as well. Doing 7 days in a row with lots of Pioneer and Standard and Arena and stuff as well. Doing 3 Pioneer decks and then 3 Arena decks every day. Yeah, you're probably mulliganing wrong. I think the red aggro matchup and the blue-white matchups are both very good matchups for the Kisis deck. I also think the Kisis deck is a deck that has a lot of player agency, which means that it gives you a lot of opportunity to beat yourself. Like, the deck has a bunch of Oathakayas, and it has, like, 2-mana 1/3s and 3-mana 3/4s, all of which are, like, super reasonable in that matchup against the red aggro. If you're looking for tips on playing the Kisis deck, I'd recommend checking out my website. Click the Historic Decks button and click the Kisis page. As far as, like, the other part of your question, like, what decks do I think the best are in Historic? I don't like to give answers that should be answered with data based on feeling. So the answer is we don't know. Historic's not really a well-developed format. We don't have events for it. We don't have any kind of reasonable data on it. So, like, it's very, very impossible to say, like, what's good or bad. I've been the Startled Awake for now. I'm not really ready to start milling them. Hopefully we draw a 3rd land and get to drop this Tutelage here. Yeah, I actually tweeted this yesterday. I think Arboreal Grazer and Land War Elves are secretly the best cards in this format. And they're definitely the things that keep the green decks the most competitive. Well, my opponent's missing land drops, so I'm going to ditch this Deck and Stone. Yeah, it's already in the queue, Mikey. I think I'd rather play Tutelage rather than trying to draw and hit my land. Field of the Dead is banned, Danon. So we had played a bunch of Yarok Field in Historic, and it was sweet. Then they banned Field of the Dead because Wizards doesn't love me. Really, really hope they unban Field and give it a chance in that format. That feels magic, man. Opponents missed their land drop. Field of the Dead is also banned in Pioneer. Opponent just like sitting over here missing land drops. We milled 2 lands in a row. Yes, all of the lands. Mill all of the lands. Oh, that's what they're splashing blue for. Okay. All right, don't do it. Don't, no whammy. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. God bless America, my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Magic's not gambling, it is a skill-based game. Do 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 do. Nothing like gambling. The good news is they don't have 8 mana at the moment, so like I get to play this Teferi and like tell Ugin to go tuck himself. If we find another Tutelage, we're gonna mill them out pretty quickly. They have 7 mana total for creatures here, so they can Worldbreaker us. Well, the good news is I have a deck in stone for this Worldbreaker, so I got that going for us. I think I'm just in to make land drops here. Let's clean that right on out. We have to untap a couple of lands here. Get to cast into the story at the end of their turn. Yeah, Marty, it's literally Tron. It's Tron that's harder to interact with because you can't Blood Moon them and you can't Damping Sphere them. Just... Oh. I don't have my verdicts in my deck anymore. I think I'm into the storying still. I have one more deck in stone in my deck. Hourly reminder that the shuffler's rigged, exactly. So they can like fetch and fail to find here. They could play Time Raveler and bounce their Emrakul, but they can't currently recast it, right? Maybe they can. Our opponent just cast Emrakul, the Promised End. I mean, a lot of our deck here just like spins tires and draws cards, so they can cycle our Azorius Charms to give lifelink so they don't do anything. They could play Ashiok and mill us. If we tuck it, can they still recast it? No, we can tuck it and mill it. Oh, I don't know, I might just try and race them, honestly. Oh, they're just discarding my tutelage to hand size. Oh. Oh, deal, sure. Yeah, they don't print cards like this one anymore. This is a unique one. Am I just Teferi tucking this? They have an Ugin coming back up against the problem. Is it crazy to just tutelage them? I think I'm just tutelaging them. They only got 24 cards left in their deck. This currently costs them 8. Can they not recast? They have 5 card types in their bin. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands. I think I'm just bouncing it with Teferi. I don't know. They could theoretically replay this next turn. Oh, that's a good observation. So if I would have Ashioked, if I Ashiok Teferi, they don't have any card types. All right, have a timeout for not telling me the why earlier. That's why the details are important. This isn't a soul land until they play another land out. So if they don't have a 7th land, we're peachy. 19 months of looking for a timeout. I got you, Weasel. Thanks for keeping me around. Hour of promise. I think the fact that they bricked off here means we're actually going to win. Yeah, they had a tapped land in their hand. Yeah, chart's a great draw. Look at that. We didn't need to make the good play. We're really lucky. Are we on the scoreboard? Did we beat the really unlucky blue-green player? I guess they weren't too unlucky, huh? Their unexpected results were really good. Their unexpected results were, like, really, really good. I have so many Teferis. I'm just going to play another one here. So we get to untap 4 lands here. So if I hit another chart a course, or if I hit an opt, they're dead. Or a cantrip. You need a card that draws a card for 2 mana. Treasure Cruise does it. They can also have 2 green cards. If we get a double trigger, they're dead. It's really Ashiok last to ensure it exiles everything. Yeah, that's true, but I'm like drawing at the end of their turn too. Also, I think they have 13 mana, right? They have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, they probably have 13 mana anyways. Not that I'm sure it really matters. They only have 1 card left in their deck. All right, hashtag sometimes. That match was just like the whole range of emotions. Just, they were screwed at the beginning, and then their unexpected results were just like very good twice. And then we made some mistakes, and they got lucky. And they got unlucky after we made a mistake, so it like kind of kept us in it. My body is ready to never play a third land and die, chat. My body is ready to never play a third land and die. I felt stuff and things. Oh, feels magic, man. Ranga Tempest, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoglandia. Thanks for keeping me around. All right, so we're dead. We're dead. Good, excellent. I like when the results are very obvious and very clear very early. This deck is actually a little bit light on the total land card count in large part because all 15 of these cards draw cards. So I am only playing 23 lands, which is low for a normal control deck, but this isn't really a normal control deck in terms of like how many cards it's seeing on average in the early game. Maybe I want Cage. Cage stops Scrounger and Bloodsoak Champion. Hey, Patron, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Be having a wonderful morning wherever you are. This hand is great. This hand is fine. I'm going to go with fine. I don't know about great. I think fine is appropriate. I think I just pull the trigger on the deck and stone right away. Just keep my health total high. Use my mana for the turn. Like, I don't really want to play a 2-mana spell next turn. I want to play a 3-mana spell. Dread Wanderer seems like a really good addition to these black aggro decks. Just like another recursive threat. It's another card that Grafdigger's Cage stops. If we get a game 3, I probably want my cages. Well, you know, here we are. Yeah, it doesn't, Cage doesn't stop Gutter Bones, but it stops the rest of them, right? They're both just attacking Teferi, huh? I guess I'm just gonna let him die. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a card with this. Sounds good, Scrafted. Noted. So to set a low bar, I think the Abzan deck's going to be better than the green-white one was. Thanks for the 17 months, Mage Cub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Okay. I'm going to gamble a small bit here and hope to draw an untapped land in 3 cards, because I do need to hit my land drops here. I would like to deck in stone this turn, but I want to hit my land drop too. Opponent trying their best to be clueless, but... Oh, yeah, that's a good call. If we deck in stone first, it's the 7th card. That guarantees we hit it. It also means we could have played a tap land. Yeah, it's a great observation. Opponent trying their best to be clueless here. We're going to cast a 7 mana into the story. It kind of feels like we're going to cast a 7 mana into the story. Or not. I think I'm just cycling this Azorius Charm. I think I need to just find some action. Even finding Supreme Verdict would be fine on this board. I also have 2 copies of Settle the Wreckage, so I got 6 really good draws here. We get 2 shots at them. Also have our decks full of redraws, and we have 6 mana at this point, so we could like draw a Charter Course and Charter Course into a Supreme Verdict. Or we could draw 2 lands in a row. It's also a possibility. Hey, my TT. This is my 04. There are many like it, but this one is mine. Don't swiftly end me. Obnixilis Reignited. Mercy. Mercy! I see most red decks are using Glory Banger over Hazard. What do you think that is? Well, I think Glory Banger is the better card. I think Hazard's the more aggressive card, but in terms of just raw card quality, Glory Banger is just much better. Golden Oreo Mini. Thanks to the 3/4 beer. Welcome back. Y6, can you not post the same long spam message too much? Please and thank you. What a tilt. They brought this back, so this isn't cheap. Stupid recursive creatures. Oh, I shouldn't have played the land out. Now this is tapped and it didn't need to be. We get to bring back Scrap Heap Scrounger here. We're dead in 2 at the moment. They deploy another 2 power threat like that. We're dead in we're dead in 3, now we're dead in 2 because they deploy a threat. Looking for a copy of Settle the Wreckage here. Hey, Ad Nauseum Philadelphia. Thank you for the 23 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Teferi plus Azorius Charm means we're not dead on board, right? We get to charm this and then go to 1. Gives us another chance to draw, settle, or verdict plus another answer. That'll do, pig. That'll do. So far, my control deck, based around casting a 3-mana card that doesn't impact the board, doesn't seem so good against aggro. Weird. Who could have imagined? I personally am shocked. Sulfur Falls, eh? Ooh, maybe they're blue-red Phoenix. Our blue-red Phoenix matchup is probably funny, because, like, we help them get Phoenixes, but we also deck them while they draw a bunch of cards. Pierce me, daddy. Pierce me. See if our opponent's charming or not here. This is the reading Sphinx's tutelage pause for those not familiar. We're checking out some of their options here. Okay. Maybe I'm supposed to opt here, because it lets me have a better chance to play Teferi next turn. But if I Startled Awake, I get into the story next turn, which is appealing. Confirmed Phoenix deck. We put one Phoenix into their bin. What do we do if our opponent plays a Leyline of Sanctity? We have Teferi. That's what I'm saying, Marty. Was it really a loss if we got to beat them up? All right, so far only one Phoenix in the top half of their deck. It's the kind of variance we need in our lives. I hope we queue into the do nothing blue white control deck. That would make my day. If we could queue into the do nothing blue white control deck. All right, there's 13 cards left in their deck. Aren't we playing a do nothing? No, we have a win condition right here. If you think this is a do nothing deck, you don't know what I mean by do nothing. I mean a deck that literally doesn't have win conditions in it. Its win conditions are Castle and Teferi retucking himself. Like they don't play spells that aren't answers. Answers and card advantage are every spell in their deck. All right, can they kill us here? What's the line, chat? They have 8 cards in their deck. Do I just verdict? How many fiery tempers are they through? They're through 1, 2, 2 fiery tempers, 3 wild slashes. I mean, if I verdict, there's a good chance they just get these cards back, right? I already played a land. So this is turn 6, I have 6 lands. Into the story costs 4. They have to draw cards to get them back. Yeah, that's very true. Alright, I'm gonna verdict them. They probably have to draw cards to get them back. They could also discard a third Phoenix and kill us here, though. Yeah, it's a Fiery Temper too, so I assume we're dead. It's a close game. Yeah. Caca! Okay, so we get to bring in some answers that are actually good here. So these Azorius Charms are real bad. I think Startled Awake is probably not good. I think I just want to be on the tutelage plan. Ashiok's great. Grafdigger's Cage is great. Declaration in Stone is great. Settle the Wreckage is great. This looks fine. Maybe Startled Awake is like marginally better than Censor. Ashiok plus Into the Story is a little bit of a non-bow. And I guess with them treasure cruising too, yeah, maybe Into the Story is supposed to come out if I'm bringing in Ashiok. That's probably what it's supposed to be. Well, Censor's flexible. So, you don't play Censor because it's a good counterspell. You play Censor because it has flexibility. For people in chat that are just shouting out random sideboard suggestions, please make useful, constructive sideboard suggestions. Don't just say card seems good. Say, Jeff, this is why this card seems good. This is the card it seems better than. What you're cutting is often more important than what you're suggesting. Just because sideboarding is not a process of putting all your good cards in your deck. It's the process of finding your 60 best cards. I know that typing out coherent thoughts often means you're going to miss me in terms of actually having a time window for them to apply, but I'd rather have a meaningful discussion rather than people shout just things at me that aren't particularly constructive or specific. I'm going to opt to start here because we could draw a tapped land. Opponent's Brazen Borrower won them that last game. If they hadn't had Borrower to put the tutelage back in our hand, we would have milled them out with the end of the story. I assume this meets a counterspell, but then that's one of our other things later that's not getting counterspelled. If it gets Is It Charmed, then Is It Charmed's not looting for them, so I think I'm okay just jamming this here. If it sticks, it has good upside. If it doesn't stick, that's fine too. Yeah, Borrower and Bone Crusher Giant will likely be format staples in every format they are legal in. Their front half is a reasonably playable spell, and their back half is a decent threat. Borrower will likely go down as the best bounce spell that's ever been printed. What do I think of Bloomberg? I think if billionaires actually were decent people who wanted to help make America a better place, they would spend their money helping down-ticket elections. They wouldn't be joining an already crowded Democratic field. I think anybody who thinks people like Bloomberg and Steyer are in it for anyone other than number one are probably very foolish. Thanks for the 18 months, No Lava. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. What are the important spells? Can you be specific? Like, outside of catching Treasure Cruise, most of their cards are just tire spinning and very similar. Just gonna go ahead and take my 1-for-1 here. Gates is pretty moral. Nobody becomes a billionaire through moral practices. You should compare the amounts of money Bill Gates gives away in proportion to the amount of money he actually has, and it helps you realize that the amount of money he gives away is comparable to the average middle class person. It's never about total dollar amount. It's always about proportions. The idea that hard work, the idea that you can work hard to become a millionaire or a billionaire is nonsense. Your hard work stops having additional returns somewhere probably in the low to mid 6 figures per year. If you're making income past that, it's almost certainly because you're exploiting people or abusing a broken system. We're working hard to become shillionaires. Listen, shillionaire is just a way to give some of us some of you working class folks a taste of greatness. You're one of the many, many future millionaires, so I'll show you. Oh, you're talking to one of the many future millionaires? Yeah. I don't really want to deck and stone this. Hopefully they flip it over next turn and I get to charm it. Lazy poor person never made $1 of passive income from stock dividends in his lifetime. Shillionaires are exploiting the working class Hoglandians. Hey, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. Pirapu, I appreciate the continued support. Welcome back. So even if they flip this over and have counter spells for my Azorius Charm, I can untap and deck and stone the thing in the ice, which is not too bad. Kind of like to draw a land here. Oh, this is a little dangerous. There's a good chance I take a 10 ball next turn because they're probably going to flip thing plus play Brazen Borrower. Is there actually someone that has 1,000,000 points in chat? No, it's not mathematically possible for anybody to have 1,000,000 points yet. There's a couple people in like the low to mid 200,000s at this point. But it's actually not possible to be a shillionaire just yet. Takes approximately a year's worth of regular watching to achieve shillionaire status. Watery Gravy, thank you for the quarter of year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. It could just be dead here. They just ditched 2 Arclight Phoenixes. That is a charm. Getting to flip thing, pick the Brazen Borrower back up is real good here too. They get to just petty theft one of my tutelages back here as one of their 2 things. Yes, it does, sure. If you're not actively engaging with the button, it takes longer. Things about to get a little wild in here. Well then. They have a counterspell here? Well, we know they have Brazen Borrower, right? Maybe I can get really lucky and deck them in response here. Rats! We got him down to 3 cards, chat. So close and yet so far away. I could have just tried to settle the wreckage there, but I think the odds of settle resolving are like pretty low. So I think the YOLO try to mill them is probably more ideal. All right, we're 1-3. Let's see if we can get a little bit lucky in the 5th match and get 5 of our $10 back. Thanks for the year and a half, Crimson. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Big bits from J-Man. Here's bits for the Legacy Ninjas deck. If it could be played Tuesday morning, that'd be great. Yeah, it'll be up first thing Tuesday, J-Man. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. It's an absurd pile of biddies. And enjoy your whale emote. Welcome to Hoaglandia whale status. You can't mill yourself with tutelage, right? Yeah, it's target opponent. I was pretty sure I know what this card did. Thanks for the biddies, Jerry. I came here to see milling, not settle. Yeah, we don't settle for nonsense. Come on now. Bottom a Hallowed Fountain here. Actually, we'll just bottom Irrigated Farmland, right? Yeah, excellent play. Hallowed Fountain tapped on 1-2. How does one get the elusive whale emote? The whale emote is the 10k bits cheer badge emote. Oh man. We're gonna die to mono red again, chat. Mono red is so mean to us. Why you have to be so mean, mono red opponent? Why you have to be so mean? Lousy mountain showing up to remind us of our humanness. Looking for a yeah, perfect. Looking for a plains. So that way we can have a 4th untapped land that doesn't hurt us. So we're gonna take somewhere between 9 and 15 points of damage this turn, probably. I think there's going to be more mono red because not only the do nothing blue white decks, but red is also okay against the ramp decks. It's the closest thing to a good matchup against the ramp that you can get. Opponent just did 17 damage to me by turn 3. Feels dead, man. I'm gonna be done. This deck's not good. Yeah. So Pioneer is slower and less brutal than Modern. However, it's not quite 3 mana card that doesn't impact the board slow. Much like the Oketra's Monument deck we played yesterday, I felt like just taking your third turn off to tap out for a card like this, just that doesn't provide a direct impact to what's going on or win the game particularly quickly, just is likely not competitive in this format. So that's about all I got. At the beginning of the set, someone had mentioned possibly playing Fevered Visions alongside Sphinx's Tutelage, but that is then multiple 3-mana cards that don't impact the board, so I don't think our deck really gets much better by playing more cards that don't impact the board. I don't think that's strictly true, Bushu's definitely been like this card saw Fringe play in Standard, like the Sphinx's Tutelage deck top 8 at a Grand Prix and like had Fringe results in other tournaments past that. So, all right, what are we doing? We're going to head and hit a quick ad roll while I get set up for the next deck. Got 2 more Pioneer decks coming up yet today. When we get back, we're going to dive on into this red splash black aggro deck. And then we've got some red white feather coming up after that. Be back in a few, folks. Thanks for hanging out today.